Listen, Asmon, you're gonna come at me with that when you're gonna go ahead and play Dragonflight? Hi everybody, welcome to another video. I haven't been really like streaming a lot lately. I've been kind of touching grass, as I mentioned in my last couple of streams. I am taking care of some things in my life right now, and it's going really well. But you guys don't care about that. We all know what you came here for. You came for some kind of drama. Ha 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 ha. Well, I mean, if you wanted drama, I'm sorry, this is not really what this channel is about. But what this channel is about is doing what I enjoy doing, which is sharing my thoughts and opinions with people who don't care about me at all. But I don't really care about their approval, so it's okay. And not just because Asmon said it. So yeah, like I mean, there's been. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have been having a bit of an ethical dilemma with the way money works in the world. That is really the root of this, because some people will even say money is the root of all evil. And I don't know, there's this thing where obviously we need money to do stuff. We order stuff from Amazon. We use companies that use third world labor with different laws where they can get away with more. There's a lot of stuff that's going into this. Yeah. And I've seen these before. So it's like terrible. But like we use Amazon because like what else are we supposed to do? You know, just to, you know, do your own research, of course. Do your own reading. And you can do your own research, of course. You know, everybody always likes to pile on to this whole game that people play on this back and forth platform where people make a clip of something and then someone responds to it and that person may or may not respond to it. I'm actually really fascinated by that. I think that's pretty cool. I always thought that it was pretty cool that you could actually like reply to somebody when they're not even in your area. Like it's somebody, a complete stranger you've never met before. When I was like 12 years old, I went on the internet and I like talked to strangers. I'm glad that things are changing nowadays, but you can't protect people forever. And Asmon knows this more than anybody, okay? I feel like, you know, as a fellow cockroach on the internet, it is what it is. It's just the reality of the world. And I feel like the sooner that you start looking at reality the way that reality is, but also not getting so lost in the things that are painful, I think that's really where, I think that's really where things can start to at least heal. You know, let's listen to what Asmon has to say. I think he has some pretty good points. Oh, I'm not going to put that in the video. Okay. Better if I do this. Better if I do this. Better if I do this. And better if I do this. Okay. Already has 387k views, but that's not what we care about. Doesn't matter. Like it's the same as 0, right? Like any view is the same as 0 because once you put something on the internet, you've already done what you set out to do, so you just move on. You've already moved on. As soon as you've uploaded your video, you're well beyond where you were when you recorded the video. In fact, when you record the video, like once you hit like stop recording, like you've already finished. Like you don't need to stay inside of that thought. You don't need to keep ruminating. You don't need to keep getting angry about it. You don't need to think, hey, is there something wrong with me? You know, is there something wrong with me? It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. There is something that you may want to change, and that's true in any of us. But nobody can tell you what that is. You know, for me, for example, I specifically, Poseidonly. We got PR voice here.
Hi guys, it's me again. I figured I'd make a video and talk about this because I'm sick of seeing it on Twitter. There is this constant moral battleground going on between Kick, that is owned by a gambling company, and Twitch, which is owned by Amazon. And the two parties of people cannot stop fighting with each other about which one is worse.
And here's I'm gonna like, and I'm not being a pre-watch Andy here. And when I'm saying this, it's pretty straightforward. both of these websites are pretty damn bad. And they're both owned by companies that are pretty damn bad. Okay. And if you don't believe me, go look at the news articles and the studies, go look at, all the, look at what's going on in the world, and especially like, third world countries. There's stuff like that going on.
And I am losing my fucking mind over this. I'm going insane listening to these.
You seem to be like, this isn't I don't know, this isn't an attack or anything, but like, if you're like me, you just do this because this is just who you are. This is like, you just can't help it. You dive into every single argument on the internet because you were that user in 2002 who logged on to an internet BBS system or web forum with an anonymous username like asmongold or Sephiroth88 or something like that, because that was your favorite character in a video game, with an anime profile picture or a video game character profile picture, or like some picture of like a bicep, like your bicep or something. I don't know, whatever your identity is on the internet. Like back then, that's really what people like. There was a rubber duck picture, right? There was always the user with like a little rubber ducky in their picture, in their profile picture. And that was usually like a really happy-go-lucky like mod or something. They're like, oh, hey guys, just a reminder, keep the topic, keep everything related to the topic and keep things civil. And then like, that's how it always was, right? And there was like the cat profile picture with like a watermelon on its head named Rocco. Everybody knows that one. Everybody in every internet community knows that user. Okay? That was the most famous, non-famous person in the world. I followed in that person's footsteps.
People fight with each other about which one is worse because everybody knows they're both bad. Why are people continuously trying to grovel for the approval of, in some cases, their own competitors and also other viewers that don't even watch them? What are
You trying to say something, Asmon?
you fucking doing? What are you sitting here trying to go on Twitter and, well, maybe if I type this, people will see that I'm a good person?
I mean, maybe a little bit inaccurate on the wording, but I mean, I ask myself that similar but not similar question every single day. Like, why do I do what I do? Why do I get so angry about things that bother me? And why do I spend that time ruminating in thoughts? And so I think the first thought is, at first it starts to hurt you and you have to make a decision. Do I just move on with my life like a normal person, like everyone else? Or do I just keep doing this? But then you're like, like maybe I'm seeing it wrong. And then you're like, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna look at it more until I can see it better. And then everyone thinks you're insane because you're just like, oh, like she's still just like looking at it. But then like over time, like I see something that like changes something. And it changes everything. Everything that you thought, it's evaporated now, because now this new detail, poof.
Gives a fuck if somebody thinks you're a good person? What the hell is
I don't give a fuck. What I give a fuck about are material conditions in my life. And so I'm not going to say or do anything that's going to destroy my life. Like, for example, I'm not going to go rob a bank. Not that I want to. But you don't rob a bank because it's against the law. And if you get, and it's not if, you will get caught if you rob a bank. You will go to jail. And why would you want that? So I don't understand why people care more about, like, I don't know. It's just so weird that somebody would like, and then it's like, you imagine like somebody goes into a situation like they're gonna rob a bank, but then like somebody like like one of their like they're a bunch of people, that's a bunch of dudes, whatever, and like or it's a bunch of people, and they're like they go in to rob a bank, and then while they're robbing the bank, they misgender one of the bank tellers, and and one of the other bank robbers is like, you can't do that. That's basically what this video is about.
What's wrong with you? What are you doing with your life? Just go and stream on the website and be happy. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind.
I mean, we all are. But that's basically where it's at. I mean, that's literally the answer to everything. Anything ever at any time is literally just be happy. And obviously it doesn't mean be okay with certain things. You don't have to be okay with Amazon's usage of child labor. I'm not. Definitely not. You don't have to be okay with their inability to like provide people with basic bathroom conditions that are required by law because they're driving? What? You think that's because someone's driving that they shouldn't have a bathroom? You know that people stop to go to the bathroom, right? People stop to eat. People stop to even sleep. Did you know that? Did you know that people stop to sleep and actually, I don't know, do private things privately in their own private spaces? That seems like a human right to me. If your job is to drive a truck for like 38 hours straight, I think that you should get a nap at some point without being reprimanded by your boss or by losing your job because like, oh, sorry, you had to drive the whole time. You had to piss in a bottle, and if you had to poop, just like wear a diaper. Like what? I doesn't make it's like it's and you can see why they're okay with using third world labor because it's not illegal. Like it's just really fucked up. But you know what? I'm not in a position to change it. But what I am in a position to do is change me. And part of changing me is processing things in a way so that I can move past things. Because if you don't move past things, they keep coming back, right? Have you ever had a moment where you're like watching a YouTube video and something just ticks you off and you have no idea why? And then it carries on, and then maybe you let that do something else that's completely unrelated. But if you actually like look at that root cause, maybe you're like, oh, and then you avoid all those pitfalls later. It's kind of, I don't know. It's a really fucked up situation. It's really hard to tell. I don't really know how to move forward except just to be happy and try to take care of myself and my loved ones. And I hope other people would too. And also not to believe everything you hear on the internet. And don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Because you have these people that are spending all of their time trying to earn the approval of people that don't like them.
I think that's just basic human nature, though. We should ask Dr. K about that. I think that's just basic human nature, though. I think people generally, it's a survival skill because if people don't approve of you, they might kill you. Like if like it's a real basic survival skill, right? I mean, Asman, I was going to call him Amazon. Oh. His name is Asman because it sounds. Oh shit, he's a deep state. No, no. But I believe Asman can understand stuff like this too. He's an experienced woodsman and gardener and survivorsman. I don't know what you want to call it. He's really into stuff like that. I know that from like listening to what he's talked about and seen stuff. He likes swords and like all that kind of stuff. And I think he gets it that like sometimes if you train with a sword, then hopefully you don't have to use it. But if the time comes to use it, hopefully you can use it so that you can protect your family. Right? However, we don't live in a world like that, and we're not going to talk about gun issues. So yeah, it's a little different of a conversation, maybe for another video.
I think this is the real problem. And let's not even get into the conversation about no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Okay, this sounds, I don't even know what he just said. I have no idea what he just said. Is he quoting a Twitter user, or I have no idea. It sounds like something he's quoting from like somebody who wrote a book in like the 1920s or something. I don't like, I don't know. It sounds like something that someone who's like, and I'm going to be using the stereotype here, blue-haired, like leftist Twitter user, who just like thinks that like something they read on the internet makes it true, and that like everybody should follow some arbitrary rule of government even though it's not based in reality. When we're based in a material reality that people use slave labor and shit, terrible things happen. That's the reality. And so our reality is that we need to, instead of bury our heads in the sand, we have systems in place that are the best we can do, and they're not perfect. But that's why we have places like why we have organizations such as like NATO and like the United Nations and all that. It's the best effort we have at world peace. Because guess what? People from different countries have different laws, they have different cultural beliefs, they have different ethical beliefs, but somehow we all have to somehow like work together so that we don't kill each other. And I think that's something that all of us can agree is something that we should all want.
Because of course these people are tapping away on their smartphone made by third world slaves that get locked inside of a warehouse, so they have to work 18 hours a day with nets across the different floors in the state.
Yeah, and I guess some people would even say that, like, in a way, that makes Americans enslaved towards the benefits of the slavery, which makes us have this ethical battle. It makes us feel like we're the problem, but we're also victims, but not in the same way. I want to make that very clear. There are things called spectrums. Do you understand? That's why when somebody calls someone, I don't know, I'm not going to get into slurs here, but you know what I'm talking about? One starts with an N, one starts with a C. They have different implications when you say them, and it's not because of any arbitrary way. It's something that I know, you know, and everyone knows, okay?
In the building, so they don't jump down the floors and kill themselves, because that would be a loss of revenue. And no, let's not talk about
Yeah,
that.
by the way, you shouldn't stream this video unless you're Hassan, because like, he can get away with, like, my stream, it's against my stream TOS, because I have my own TOS that I have my own code of conduct for my own stream, even though it not doesn't always align with my personal beliefs.
That at all. Let's not talk about how Amazon has, people that are working in, these conditions where they're pissing into bottles so they don't lose points on their performance review. Let's not talk about how gambling and all this other stuff is negatively affecting.
So, I mean, I feel like I don't even want to get into the ethics of this because it's so complicated and there's just so many different things going on that are behind closed doors. But I'm gonna keep it real with you in here and say that people running Kick are not like a super clean gambling site. I'm just gonna keep it that way. But I'm a huge proponent of gambling. I am part Native American. So maybe I'm a little biased. I'm not culturally a part of it, but my family history has been. And like in a different state, of course, in Oklahoma, but so I don't live there. I don't intend to live there, so I'm never gonna register with them. And I don't want to live on the reservation in Oklahoma, because Oklahoma is a very dangerous place for people like me. And we're not gonna get into that conversation here. But I have no issue with gambling, especially when it benefits tribes. Tribal gambling is a huge deal. I think there are nuance to topics like this. Gambling is a spectrum. I personally, until things are a bit more clear cut, I need to figure out my situation first. Luckily, I am in a situation where I have the luxury of being able to choose. I'm not under contract. I'm a free agent. My life's good. Um, life's good. And I'm liking where it's going. But some people, for some reason or another, something hurt them. They're in a place maybe I used to be in, which took many years of deliberate efforts to crawl out of. And they just want to burn everything down to the ground, and they want to change everything. But, like eventually, hopefully they get to a place where, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but, I used to be in that place. And I've been in that place for a long time, actually, because it affects me in a very real way. But then it's like, you do still have to put perspective on things and realize that, I love who I am when I'm not in trauma. Because when I'm in a situation where people are supportive of me, where people are interacting with me and using my skills, as when I went back to the college 2 weeks ago, I'm getting a lot of resources. I'm getting my life together. In a way, everything's coming together, and it started with dance. Allowing my body to really exercise parts of it that have never been used before. It's like getting a new piece of armor. Like you realize that you have like these armors and like these pieces of, you have gear like inside of your body that if you don't use them, you will never get the stats. And some people are okay with that. And Asmon, I don't know. I think you should learn how to dance. I think you'd like it. You could dance in cat ears. And it's okay. No one's going to judge you. We live in 2023 now.
people, or people are on their computers using microchips that are being, like obviously, that are using different types of components that are also used with unethical third world labor. And even here, if you're in the US, we have lots of very, very cheap produce and sometimes cheap labor due to the fact.
Yeah, so Asmon gets it. I'm gonna, you know, no, I know a lot of people don't really like Asmon, especially people in my demographic. Uh, but he gets it. He gets it. Okay, he knows. Like he dives into every single controversy and to every single like point of contention that you could even think of, because I believe that's just who he is. I mean, that's why I do what I do on the internet. Like, I don't know why anyone else would. I just live here. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, like, come on. Why you guys like think that you're having some kind of crusade to try to change the world? You're not going to change the world on Twitter. You're going to change the world by living your best life and uplifting your community. That's how you're going to change the world. That's how real shit happens. Okay? And it doesn't happen with anger. I mean, you can be angry, but like use that anger in a productive way, not in yelling at people who just don't give a fuck. Because a lot of people, including Asmon, literally don't give a fuck because he has his own life to live and he has his own problems. You have no idea what they are. Why would you deign to think that you know what kind of personal life he has? For all you know, he has an entire life that literally nobody, even in his org, knows about. He might even have a family. He might have children. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered that he might have a family and that this is all a smokescreen for the internet? It's probably, I mean, I'm going to not like suppose things based on insane left field thoughts, but you know, it's possible that that people aren't who you think they are. And that, you know, if you don't like pause a second to like think about things and maybe even like just respond in like a decent human being with courtesy and stuff like that, and like have a conversation, then maybe those things that you're so angry about will start to change. Instead of people just saying, "Oh, it's just another blue-haired Twitter SJW." Just a thought.
Fact that a lot of the people that are making that produce and doing that labor are, of course, illegal, and therefore it is easier to take advantage of them. But don't worry about any of that. The real problem here is Kick and Twitch, and
It's a good point, though. It's a good point. Because it's like, let her cook. Because it's like the companies that own these things are, I mean, obviously, whatever you think about the platform, whatever you think of Twitch or Kick or whatever, I'm not even going to get into that. It's not worth it because it's the smokescreen. It's the smokescreen. And in the end of the day, it's always going to be the same problems. And if you're not going to do something about those problems, then I think you should just enjoy your life and take care of your family, starting with yourself. Self-care. That's a huge part of like, you know, for anybody out there, if anybody out there is transitioning or, you know, thinking about transitioning, you know, or been struggling with confusing thoughts and are questioning things about who they are, and they may not know what they are, but may not be what they think it is, may be exactly what they think it is, who knows. Um Getting angry is and just yelling at the world and shouting and hurting yourself and hurting others, like that's not going to change it. It's going to start from inside. Like you need to start lifting yourself up, caring about yourself enough to not give a fuck. Caring about yourself to like, hey, that person wants to kill me, but guess what? I'm going to live even harder now. I'm going to be even happier now because that person wants me to be afraid to leave my house. That person wants me to be afraid to live life and go enjoy what life has to offer, to go meet people, to improve life skills. Those people want me to be afraid and keep myself inside where I'm going to shout into a camera on the internet so they can jack off to me. Okay? So, you know, and not the stuff that I want them to. The stuff that hurts me. Like, you know, these people are not good people, okay? Why do I care about them? I don't. I hope that they get healed, but it's not my responsibility for that. It's theirs, and you know, hopefully they have a support system. They went down a rabbit hole that is not a good one, and you should pity them. And the best thing you can do is just, as somebody who has gone through transitioning for almost 4 years now, approaching my final surgery, my bottom surgery, I am going to tell you right now that you will get through this a lot better if you just let go of those feelings and you just find people in your life who love you for who you are and care about those people. Okay? Because they will fly right by you. Okay? They will fly right by you. If you spend all your time getting angry on the internet. Okay? And so the answer isn't getting off the internet, because that's not going to happen. Let's be real. Okay? Like, it's not going to happen. It's a part of the internet. It's part of the world. It's a part of our society. Internet exists. It's the same as the roads, the sidewalks, water, gasoline, but that's being phased out, hopefully. But, it's like, what are you going to do? Go out, just spend all your time screaming and shouting on the internet at people who don't give a fuck, or people who don't even exist in a lot of the cases, because they're probably bots. Like, who are you really getting angry at? Like, imagine if you were, like, in public doing that. Obviously, it's different. That comparison is a little unfair. Okay. It's a little different if you're doing something in public as compared to at home, because when you're at home, it's expected for you to be feeling safe enough to act in crazy ways. Okay. That's why people can do stuff like, have like, squirt shot, or what do they call them? Or like have like squirt gun battles in like a mansion, or like with mustard and ketchup, or like, or stuff, or like playing fireworks and shit like that. I mean, don't do that at home, kids. Yeah, like, it all starts. I think it all really roots back to, like back on television, they say, don't try this at home, kids. It's like, if you need someone on TV to tell your kids not to do something dangerous, I think you have bigger problems.
And I really find it to be exhausting, and I think that it's very I think it's very mentally unhealthy, because the truth is that obviously everybody here, and the truth is that uh, uh, what I'm saying here is it's irrefutable that a lot of these things are the things that we own, like our shirts, our
Yeah, so
clothes.
here's the thing, is if there's going to be any argument about who's ethical and who's not, like if there's going to be any argument, and I'm not saying specifically in this case, just to be very clear, but if I'm going to say, if just in general, the ideas of gambling and exploitative, uh, exploitative work conditions, I would say gambling is so much better, more ethically, as a concept. Now, the execution of that, especially if the gambling involves that as well, that's this is the problem. The unethical work conditions is the problem, in my opinion. I think gambling as a concept, if you divorce it from that, I think gambling's perfectly fine. If you pay people living, affordable, like livable wages with reasonable work conditions and accommodations, and benefits, I really don't see any problem with, taking people's money away who are just wanting to throw their money away because I have no idea. Maybe they're miserable and they feel like throwing money away. And gambling is a way to, do that for them in that case. For some people, it's alcohol. For some people, it's drugs. For some people, it's, buying lots of cars and then getting divorced. Everybody lives their own life, like, who am I to judge?
Are computers. A lot of our luxuries in life are paid for with the blood, sweat, and tears of third-party people.
Yeah,
And
and it's just the truth. I mean, it's uncomfortable truth, but it's truth, and we all have to learn how to live with it. And it's not that you have to learn how to live with it, it's that you have to learn how to be as productive as you can, because, like I said, screaming and shouting is going to make it worse for you. It's not going to improve it. And so you really just have to, like, take care of yourself the best you can. It's a shitty situation, but that's because, you know, a lot of people are in the shitty situation as well. And luckily, I'm in a geographic location in the world where I didn't get that RNG.
sorry, not third party, third world people. And guess what? Nobody's throwing them away.
I mean, that's really understood. I mean, if you're not willing to completely like throw yourself into a cause and like go protest and like, fight legal battles and all that kind of stuff, advocate for communities. There's many ways to advocate, by the way. You don't have to go out and like be a lawyer. You don't have to go out and protest. Even just taking care of your family and just being happy and not taking that energy out on anyone else is going to be the best for your cause than just screaming and shouting about it. No matter what your cause is, no matter what side of the political spectrum you are. This applies to everybody, okay? Like this applies to everybody. If you have a belief and there's a large group of people that completely oppose that belief, and you believe that what they're doing is harmful, and you may even think that they're harming children, and you're concerned about that. Well, what are you going to do? Scream and shout and just have everybody feel uncomfortable about you and frighten children? Which is what these people have been doing. But with fear and, intimidation, and threats. Even though these people are the same people saying that they want to protect children, because they think that somehow wearing clothes in a performative way in an age-appropriate venue event with conduct that is in no way, shape, or form what these people accuse it of being, for some reason, that's the weird thing, and not the people who are outside of these things screaming at children. It doesn't make any sense to me. But, if that's the case, like, that's not going to help you. It's going to hurt your cause. So what you can do is just forget about us. If you think that if we're wrong, then just consider us sinners. Let God take care of us. If that's the way you believe it, if that's how you see it, then who are you to judge? Let God do that. Doesn't it say that in the Bible? Like, isn't the First Amendment, I mean, not the First Amendment, isn't the first commandment, thou shalt not kill? And so whatever belief you have about someone, if you're going to exercise that belief by killing someone, then you've already committed a greater sin than you could have ever done. So what room do you have to say that I'm a sinner for literally just taking care of my own life and taking care of my body that I own? The only thing I own, the only thing anybody owns, okay, is your body. It's the only thing anyone owns. Okay? And anything that you create instead of that body was created within your body. Okay? So if I create something in my body, which I am unable to do, well, I can create poops.
So what are we talking about? Why are we trying to swab the decks on the Titanic whenever
I believe that the heart does go on, near, far, wherever you are. I believe that the heart does go on.
we're clearly losing the moral battle? Everybody is losing the moral battle. And
I can kind of see, like, this is where Asmon, like, I mean, I'm guessing here. Pardon me for being parasocial. But if I'm going to guess based on, like, his facial expressions and his affect, this is where his true feelings are really starting to surface. Like, right here.
the moral battle. Everybody is losing the moral battle.
Like, do you hear that? You can usually see it in someone's eyes. You can usually see it in someone's eyes. However, you have no idea what it is, so it's usually just a hunch. And so you should not, I don't know where these people get that. I mean, this is completely off topic, but all those freaking like parasocial Andes who are like analyzing everybody's little teeny like twitches of their eyes and stuff. That means that like they're leaking that they're going to join that website, or like there's weird people like that. Okay. I mean, I don't know. They might be artificial intelligence.
And yes, maybe some things are worse than others slightly, but does it really matter whether something is like a 71 or 73 on like
Yeah, let's be real. Okay? Like, let's be real. We're fighting the wrong battle, and the fact that we're framing it as a battle is also part of the problem. And the fact that we're even seeing it as a problem is something to consider. But once we consider things, we have to make sure that they're balanced in a way so that things are just nice and Gucci.
The bad scale of like 1 to 100? I don't think so. I really
I think it requires us to reframe the way we live our lives and reframe the way we approach situations that we disagree with. And that's a personal, like, individual, even spiritual journey. And I consider it spiritual. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in various different teachings of spiritual leaders across time. One of those people is Jesus Christ, and I follow that person's teachings in addition to other people's teachings. Sometimes it's not even people intending to teach things. Sometimes it's things that you learn just by interacting with people throughout your lives. There's people who are called mentors in your life, people who show you things that you didn't know you needed to be shown. And I think that's great. I think society can be great if people just stopped having prejudice and just instead gave people a shot, and then until proven otherwise, decided whether or not to allow that person in their life. But there's some times where things are so dangerous that you kind of have to stay clear, you know?
don't think it's that big of a deal. And I think this constant groveling for the like moral affirmation of the internet as a whole
I think for me, it's more of a matter of survival. And when I say survival, it's a matter of I have a belief that it's possible for anybody to be able to make a living, even if they have all the disabilities that you can imagine. Someone who's blind, deaf, can't talk, has no limbs. That person could potentially earn a living, or that person should be able to have a job and not have their life just live in a living hell. I mean, it's already a hell. Like they might, I mean, I'm not going to like, I mean, I'm going to guess and say that that person's probably not very happy with their life. Okay. So why make it harder for that person? And then people say, okay, well, that makes sense for that person. What about a person who, you know, maybe her whole entire life just never really clicked at all with the way society expected anything from her, never really understood why people say the things they do, never understood why people do the things they do, kind of just guessed, you know, over a couple decades, and until, you know, she got it kind of correct. And then now is like just starting to accept that, you know, she's never really going to get it, but life doesn't have to be miserable. And it's okay. And even though she has special needs, it doesn't make her what she thinks that means, which is a prejudice. Because when I hear words like special needs, I assume a certain thing. And people assume a certain thing, especially if they are raised in a very masculine environment. So
such an unhealthy thing to do, and I see everybody doing it nowadays, and it is so exhausting. Why can't you just take the fucking money and say, yeah, I took the money? Maybe some people.
well, because some people don't have money to take. That's about it. Money's really the driving force of most decisions. Is all I'm gonna say about that.
Gonna gamble, or you know, I don't really give a fuck about the unions at Amazon. I don't work at Amazon. Why are people so afraid to say what they really think? Why are people so afraid to state the obvious?
And like I'm 100% with him right here. I am 100% with him. I wish people would stop giving a fuck what people care about what they say, because it's hurt me my whole entire life. And if more people didn't give a fuck, then maybe people would stop giving so much a fuck about me. So that's pretty much my main motivation for trying to spread my message on the internet since I was like 12 years old. It's been a lifelong effort of trying to figure out why people are the way they are on the internet, and trying to get people to stop hurting themselves, and then to stop just going on crusades. Because as someone who went on those crusades, and I think Asmon has mentioned that he went on crusades because he wanted to go on some cause. But you find out pretty quickly that no one gives a fuck. And it's just reality. You want it to be different. And there's people who obviously it doesn't mean you have to stop. And there are better ways to, maybe you'll find something. You know, I feel like there's people out there, if anyone's going to do it, it's probably people like Hassan or Destiny or Vosh. People who've literally dedicated their entire careers towards exploring political causes. They may not be effective, but I think they're pretty effective in at least bringing people together and bringing people like me in who can eventually let go and let them take it on. And then instead of trying to take on the role that people like them are trying to do, I can then just focus on living my best life. And then I'm a resource of information that if people like Hassan or Destiny or Vosh want to ask about transgender issues, I am literally a transgender person with experience. They can then listen to, clip it, and then take that and do whatever they want with it. I don't care. But they're probably going to listen to it and like think about it. I hope. At least I hope. I hope they think about it. I don't care what they do with it. I don't know if they're going to use it on their videos or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'm always up for a discussion. I'm always open to talk on or off stream with any streamer, any non-streamer. Obviously, there's certain streamers, certain people that I won't let on my stream because they're like, cum names. But like, somebody I trust more. But let's be real. Okay, you can never fully trust somebody. Just because, at any given moment, someone can just completely snap their mind and just like pull down their pants. Like you never know, okay? Not saying that Asmon would do that, but you never know, okay? Like you never, someone might, soda popping, like has a heart attack anytime like a woman.
Why are people so worried about the opinions of people that don't even like them?
I think it's because they're projecting, and I'm gonna say this from experience, okay? I'm not gonna mince words here. I was that person, okay? Oh, shocker. Okay.
So worried about the opinions of people that don't even like them.
And it's because I'm projecting. Because people inherently want, I believe people inherently want people to like them. It's like, it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like, hey, from a very young age, I was in a situation where I was being collectively bullied. And I felt like there was something wrong with me, even though I was just being bullied. And it was a system where the teachers, like, just thought that that's what kids did, I guess. And just like let it happen. Collectively ignored, shamed. It really does stuff to you. But I have to remember that not everybody experienced life that way. And if you start carrying that with you everywhere you go, and you start throwing it at people when they don't deserve it, you're only becoming a part of the problem. And until you learn that, you can't start to make those changes inside of you to overcome those. And like, I feel like it's just elevate yourself, towards a place where you can really like be in a state of mind where it's not that you're ignoring the problems, it's that you're understanding the situation well enough to know where you need to put that energy. And putting that energy into something like going out on Twitter on a rampage, trying to cancel everybody, that's only going to harm you.
It's so weird to me, and I don't understand it at all, and I don't think that I ever will, because the truth is that this is the way that I look at things, is that you have to be your own North Star. You have to, be the person that makes the decisions that you think are right for you, right for your family, and right for the people that you care about, and you have to move towards that in one direction without worrying about what some random person on Twitter with an anime profile picture thinks of you. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be trapped. And think about this, guys. If you're against what I'm saying right now, think about how bad it would be if you had to be at the whims and wishes of every single person that had a disagreeable opinion on social media.
I'm going to give you a spoiler, and if that were true, I'd be dead. Not just dead. Like, worse than dead. Okay, like, these people do not like trans people, okay? So good thing the law is on my side. These people can just like, they go to their little meetings and they're like kind of like they feel shamed. They wear masks in public. And aren't these the same people who told people not to wear masks during COVID?
nothing would ever happen because everybody disagrees on everything, and the only thing that holds us together is some sense of not giving a fuck about each other. Because you can
That's all there is to it. I mean, it's true and real. Like literally, like there's no like why? Like you literally do not even inhabit that person's brain. You have no information. You have serious lack of information. That person has way more information than you have about their objective reality. However, that does create issues where we kind of get tunnel vision, and we kind of get stuck in our own experience. And I think that's where going out and living different experiences is really helping me. Doing things that I was afraid to do in the past. And I'm not gonna say that I had to transition to do like ballet and all that stuff, but I never felt comfortable doing certain things until I transitioned. And I'm still getting there because there's still a surgery left, but things are going in the right direction. Okay. And I'm going to tell everyone out there, especially the trans people who hate asmongold, please take care of yourself. Asmongold doesn't give a fuck. And also, why should he? He's just a dude on the internet. Like, replace Asmon with me. And I'm a trans person. So, like, if you replace Asmon with a trans person saying the exact same things, like, it could be any one of us. Any one of us could be a person. And and we're all in our different little areas of life that we got to because we spent our life with our own limited set of information, and we did the best we could, and sometimes we made the right choice, sometimes we made the wrong choice, sometimes it was really gray, like it just wasn't really clear. So I think it's really important to stop giving a fuck about other people, especially on the internet, so that way you can focus on what matters. And it doesn't mean that you can't create content out of it. It's all about the memes, okay? But that doesn't mean what you think it means. If you actually want to be effective, you have to live a good life, but with purpose and with a direction and with a focus. If that is truly what you believe in, then you need to take that energy, and you can't just scream at everybody on Twitter. You have to put that energy into your own life first. Because otherwise, isn't that what transitioning is about? Like, isn't the whole point of transitioning so that you can move the fuck on and be happy? Like I'm attempting to be. I'm almost there. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it. Okay, I'm a hot mess. I'm an animal. Okay, I relate to Asmongold. I'm an internet cockroach. Okay? You do not want to be me. But I want to be me because it's me. You know?
can go and do your thing, I'm going to go and do my thing, and we can agree to not kill each other over that difference. And I think that's a great thing in society. I think it's really what fundamentally society is built off of. And some of these like foundational ideas are just discarded because people on the internet are so privileged and so bored with their own lives.
That's really all that comes down to it. Some people are forced into that situation, unfortunately. However, doesn't mean you have to stay in that situation.
That they look for different ground to retread and different battles to fight again.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing to do. I think that's what everybody does. I mean, filmmakers do it, writers do it, artists of all kinds, trying to find, especially writers and public speakers, trying to find new directions so that you can have new ways of looking at things. However, the way you do that matters. And I think there's ways to do it that are effective and ways to do it that are destructive.
Give their lives meaning because apparently, some menial job that they have, or maybe they don't have a job and they're just looking for some meaning in their life because they feel like they don't have any. And so the meaning that
and it's not true. You always have meaning, but you have to look for it. You can't just find it on Twitter. You're not going to find it on Twitter. You're not going to find it on TikTok. Okay? You're going to find it in yourself and in your personal life and in the people you care about. And you realize once you start interacting with people in real life that people don't behave the way they do on Twitter in real life. And the people who do, it's pretty obvious they do. And you know what I'm talking about. It's always like the guy with a whole bunch of signs on his, like a whole bunch of signs on him with a megaphone at like a public college, like in a public speech area, like saying, or not, maybe not with a megaphone, but just shouting like, that, all these like really like hateful beliefs about people. that like, getting and like insert like asserting that like getting having sex before marriage like drives you to hell, and like literally the whole everybody on campus is just uncomfortable. The police show up, like, you know what I mean?
Find is latching on to a person who makes funny faces and says funny things while playing video games, and trying to create a purity test for this person to exist under.
Who mega lol?
What a weird way to live. What a sad way to live. I don't
Wait, is he talking to me?
understand this. And so this is the way that I see it, okay? Obviously, Steak has kick as a loss.
I don't even want to get into the whole steak thing. I toggled that stream off for now. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna pay attention. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna pay attention and live my own life, because whatever. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back, where I had to make a decision for myself, and I chose wisely, and I chose myself. It made me realize how stupid everything we do on the internet is. But it doesn't mean our lives are stupid. Do you understand? Whatever we do on the internet, that is what it is. But our lives are still going to be there afterwards. And I think it's really important to keep that in mind moving forward.
For gambling. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. There are a lot of people that broadcast on Kick, and
however, that specific unregulated gambling, crypto gambling, unregulated, questionable things going on. Okay, it's too murky of a water for me to step into when I already know what to expect. And there's probably stuff that hasn't been uncovered about Amazon, of course, but at least I already know. Like, I'd rather stay with the current evil that I'm aware of, than with the unknown evil, right? So like, if I have like an evil I'm aware of, it's like that saying, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Okay, so
they don't advertise gambling, and good for them. I don't think they're really doing anything wrong.
Yeah, and they have the right to like have their own personal beliefs if they want to support gambling or not. And also, I actually think if you are in a position to make boatloads of money on that website, do it. And then use that money to then put it back towards your community and towards yourself and your family and your loved ones and your community. Like, maybe a library in your local needs like a renovation. Maybe there's a lack of housing resources in your local area. Like, there's all sorts of stuff like that. And that's the kind of thing, when I see money, that's what I see. And I don't expect other people to see it that way. But when I see money, I see people not having to live in fear. Because people who do not have money live in fear every day. And I've lived with it my entire life in poverty. So money to me is a emancipator. And obviously try to get that money in an ethically as way as possible, because you do not want to ethically bankrupt yourself. So stick with your own ethics. But if there's no other if there's a clear and cut opportunity to make a large amount of money, and then you know where your values are, and you know that you're going to use that money to actually change lives, and actually put your words to action, because money can make that happen. Words are words, and they live beyond our lives, because essayists like James Baldwin, and like Native Son, and all that kind of stuff, like these people live after they die, and they remind us of the human part of who we are. They leave something that they learned so that people don't forget about it. And I think that's a different thing entirely from money. Money is something that could actually have tangible results in your life. And unfortunately, money's really difficult to find. Some people, good, better, more power to them, were able to, make something work really, really, really well. And they put a lot of effort into it. Asmongold, for example, started with YouTube, and he put many, many, many years into YouTube. And then when he started live streaming, he found a good balance. And obviously he's one person. Most people will never have that situation. However, it doesn't mean you have to give up on yourself. It doesn't mean you have to give up on your pursuit of your own happiness, which may or may not involve similar tasks that he did, but in a different way because it's a different environment and it's a different reality we live in. And I have a different set of skills. So
It's up to them, and obviously they have to do what's right for them and their family and make money. Money is very important because without it, you die.
yeah, and so like if I got a contract, for example, that said we will pay you $100 million over 2 years, and the only stipulation is I have to stream. I don't have to change anything else. I just have to change which website I stream on, and I don't even have to only stream on that one. I think with $100 million, I could change a lot of lives. I think that would be better than having. I think it would be pretty selfish to have some kind of moral obligation or whatever. Because think about how many lives you can change with $100 million. Think the people who are targeted by those things that you claim to be are evil. Wouldn't you be a part of that evil if you let them give that money to somebody who was going to use that money to further expand that evil? When you could be a person who could take that money and counter it. Like they play their card, you play your card. And your card may or may not be the same. It may not be equal. Obviously they're going to do their thing. You're going to do your thing. But there's people in your community, people in your life who can use that money. Like people who could actually like transform their lives and then transform others' lives,
On Twitch, obviously Amazon is a very bad company. They've done very bad things, but however, they will get you underwear to your house 30 minutes after you order it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the end of the day. I mean, I already knew before I watched this video, even though I did pre-watch this, but I already knew before the end of the video. I'm pretty damn sure Asmon feels the same way I do. Like if it's like I don't really give a fuck, but if it's like which one actually benefits me, and for him, he doesn't care. But like I don't know, he does care about money. Don't he's but I mean it's like if it's gonna make his life harder, that's really what it like if he has to leave his house. Like if Amazon says he doesn't have to leave his house, I think he's gonna side with them. But if the other one says that he has to leave his house, he's gonna say fuck that. He only leaves the house when he fucking wants to. He's a millionaire. That's the whole reason to become a millionaire, not so you can work more.
So are you really going to cancel Amazon Prime? So it's not that bad after all, is it? And, the union.
I'm the kind of person who, like, if I have things, I actually thrive and I don't know. I think most people do. I think most people who are in poverty, they think that once they're out of poverty, that everything's just going to, they don't have to, do all these things anymore. It's like, I know this from experience, not from, because it's gradual. From improving my material conditions, one small step at a time. Like, you start to notice that, you don't have these things weighing you down. And suddenly, you're free to, you just feel, lighter. It's like when Goku takes off the weighted clothing, that he trains in,
Things where they're making fake accounts to pretend like they don't want unions, not necessarily the best thing to do. And, making people piss in bottles, and I think there was a issue where, one of the employees had to stay inside of a building whenever there was a tornado, and then the tornado killed them, right? And it's just...
Yeah, so it's but that's a bigger battle than Amazon. It's not just about Amazon, because guess what? Literally every single major corporation is rooted in third world child labor. And it's a bigger problem than Amazon. Amazon is just one player. It doesn't make them, I mean, obviously they're not, I wouldn't say any giant mega corporation is good. I wouldn't say, evil either. I think there's a clear distinction, but I think that's pretty damn evil. But it's they're another player in that, and what are we gonna do? We can't really do anything. They run the world, and we get a situation that's kind of what was that? What was that Netflix series based on the books? Altered Carbon.
Not super good, but at the end of the day, We're not going to be canceling Amazon Prime because they've got some of our favorite movies on there. What are we going to stop watching the movies for? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, because it's not that we don't care. We really do. I mean, actually, yeah, we don't care where we watch the movies. If somebody better than Amazon came along with offering like a better product, as long as they don't have some extremely worse, egregious, unethical practices, then I don't think people would really care so if there was a more ethical company that did the exact same thing as Amazon, I think most people would rather side with the ethical company, unless it was literally people who just thought that this thing was unethical.
Holy fuck, guys. Stop trying to live your life according to some crazy ideal that is just it's a fabrication in your mind.
Yeah, it's just gonna make you crazy.
Because it's just if you
you realize this by the time you like hit 30. Like either you gain some perspective or you go full crazy.
Constructed and you look at how many other problems there are in the world and how many problems you contribute to simply by existing.
I mean, there's got to be so many problems that I just by me existing, like there's got to be like bacteria that like is pissed off that I exist. It's like, I was gonna go over here, but then this human stepped on me.
I think that you'll realize that you're already into a very, very dark gray area.
Yeah, life is a.
And I think that it doesn't really matter whether you're streaming on Kick or whether you're streaming on Twitch. You are contributing towards something that is negative. And the truth is that the best thing that you can do is try to be a force against that and do what you think is the right thing and to not worry about what other people are doing and what they think of you. I think there's just so much nowadays where people are so worried about what other people think of them. Guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. Because the only thing that matters if you're a content creator is the relationship that you have with your audience. Keep that clean, keep that straight, and everything else is going to fall right into place. So that's my opinion, that's my advice, or anything like that. And if you're one of these people that's on Twitter, that's following this issue, that desperately wants your opinion or your feelings
I mean, I don't know about desperately, but I mean, I do ask people's opinions, yeah.
to be heard, just realize that even if somebody listens to you, it doesn't matter.
I mean, but it matters to the individual, That's one of the things is like people say, why do you keep streaming, sometimes. And I'm like, because streaming isn't a career. Streaming is just something you do. And especially for me, with somebody with so many racing thoughts, I need to hear them out loud so I can adjust them. Otherwise, they stay inside and I get stuck and I go crazy. We can't have that. We can't have that.
Do something more productive with your life. Try to do something that makes you happy. Imagine that. Anyway, guys, that's about all I've got.
And that's up to the individual. Like I don't know. I think some people might misunderstand like why I do the things that I do, but I think that's because I've let it cook for so long that sometimes I forget like certain things. I talk a certain way because I talk with passion, but I have a very clear understanding of the roadmap, and I let my emotions I work through my emotions, but I still remember where I'm going. Like, do you understand? I've had to learn that over a course of lifetime dealing with autistic issues, and these past 4 years have been like a really big shift, working with a therapist, getting outside of my own mind. And Twitch, and I when I refer to streaming, I do refer to Twitch, because I feel like Twitch is like really like the nature of streaming. And I feel like I really think that streaming shouldn't be seen as like a social media platform. It shouldn't be seen as a job. It should just be seen as something you do, and it's literally just a stage. And honestly, Twitch can do better, but as long as they provide the web hosting, literally that's all. I mean, you could buy your own web hosting if you really want to. You can be like Destiny and have your own social media website if you really want to. So I think the real question is like, if you want to make a stand in the world and you truly want to be independent, then make your own website. Make your own social media account. If you're not willing to do that, then pick the one that is going to be the most aligned with you. And for me, like, obviously all these companies are really fucked up, but at least like, I'm not going to turn my back on Twitch, even though had some backwards shit going on. They've even lifted me up after I thought they abandoned me a couple times. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. It's larger than one person. It's a giant moving. So many moving parts in an organism like Twitch, or any website. Um, but literally anything that they do to help you is really just a bonus, and I really think that people should stop thinking of streaming websites as some kind of like path towards discovery or social connection, because it's really something that you have to bring to the table, and I brought to the table myself, and so that's enough for me. I learned right from the very beginning of streaming that this is something that I just do. It has nothing to do with career path. That's something different. And whatever opinions I have and whatever I use this stage, no matter how small it is, that I use this stage to form a better version of myself and to express myself and let things off my chest so that I don't have to have them swirling around in my brain, driving me crazy, and I can move on and be happy. And that's the truth. That's the secret, by the way. That's the secret to why I'm actually happy in my real life, but I look very unhappy in my internet life. Anyway.
I'd make a video about this because I've just seen it so often, and it's very annoying to me. Overall, stream on Kick, stream on Twitch.
Is he talking to me? You can just say so. You don't have to, like, do all this political maneuvering. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that thing that every content creator... Obviously, I'm okay with it. I'm the small content creator. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to do this posturing. I like how Asmon just gets straight to the point. I can't confirm or deny he's actually specifically talking to me. So there's always that. Whether or not you want to break the fourth wall there. But you know, like I'm always online. I live here. I'm just your friendly neighborhood internet cockroach. Okay, there's worse things to be in life. At least I survive.
Twitch, stream on Rumble, stream on YouTube, stream wherever the fuck you want. But don't go and try to beg people for their approval. And also,
yeah, I don't know what that. I mean, it's a natural feeling, and to those people who might feel that way right now, just try to take a step away. Maybe like go on a little bit of a vacation, and preferably not alone. But if you really need to be alone, go camping, or like, you know, stay safe, obviously, but go camping. Go whittle some wood. Go make tools, and you know, do stuff in nature. If that's truly like it'll give you some perspective. Stuff like that really puts things in perspective. Perspective saves lives from crazy. And I've had a lot of perspective so many times in these 35 years on this earth. I've had so many things dealt to me that I had no control over. And yeah, it gives you a lot of perspective. And so when you get to my age and you start acting a certain way on the internet, it's kind of sometimes it's entertaining to see people's reactions, but sometimes it's like I don't realize how deeply these things have... Like, it's not that I'm like acting or on a script, but I don't realize how these things affect every action. And I think it starts with being aware of it. I really do.
Also, don't go and try to string somebody up on a witch crusade or...
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right. I'm going to tell you right the fuck now. I'm the last person who's ever going to fucking do that to you, Asmon. In fact, I'm one of the people who defended you. Like the one time you said, I'm going to bring this up, but... I'm not going to bring it up. But you know what I'm talking about. Only Asmon and the people involved in that, yeah. So yeah, like there was a tweet. There was a tweet. And it was actually really well received, and I was not expecting it to. So I had to keep an open mind. Just because you think certain people are going to react a certain way doesn't mean they will. You can probably guess what they're going to believe in, but you shouldn't just discount people just because you have prejudice about them. Because I have prejudice about people who are, more conservative leaning. But I'm gonna go on a limb here. I would say that a lot of people have conservative values, and it doesn't make them necessarily conservative. I have some conservative values. For example, I honestly don't think children should be on the internet until they're 16 or something. Um, I was on the internet when I was 12, and the internet's much more dangerous now, even though it looks like there's more protections. It's much more dangerous now than it was when I was 12. Okay, at least when I was 12, like the police like monitored stuff for like very bad people. It was more like it was so small, and like it was fringe back then in the 90s and shit. Um so like nowadays it's so commonplace, and like the internet is everywhere, and there's so many tools for bad people to use. I don't think 12-year-olds should be using the internet at all. I really do think, like, if we don't let kids drive until they're 16, how can we let them use the internet when they're like 10 or 11? However, I do think that's an extreme position. I think there is a middle ground. I think there are protections that we can put in place specifically for children. And I think there have been solutions already. And I think the fact that I haven't even explored that would give me, like, for example, this would be a situation where I could just get mad and go on the internet, but instead I'm going to kind of like, hey, I don't even know everything about the situation. Maybe this is an interesting thing. Maybe I do wish to make a video about this, but wouldn't I rather make a video with like a whole bunch of facts and like a whole bunch of research going into it and a lot of preparation, rather than just going on the internet and trying to cancel some content creator for playing Hogwarts Legacy? I don't know.
Trying to crusade against them because they're not doing what you think that they should be doing. What an unhealthy, weird, pathetic world that we're living in.
I don't think that's an accurate vision of the world. I mean, I don't think you're working with all the details. I don't think anyone, none of us are working with all the details. I think the world, as shitty as it is, it's the best we got. Okay? And, it could be worse. I mean, look at how many planets we've discovered in our galaxy that are not habitable, are not that are not habitable by humans. And how like amazing it is that we have this rock that we can live on. However, we do have to get along on this rock because there's so many people with entirely different understandings that conflict each other. People with entirely different opinions about how the world should work, and a lot of the time those ideas directly conflict with each other.
Hopefully it's over soon. Not the world, just the current one.
Yeah, I mean, the world's always changing, so it's always, literally the world's always over and starting anew. And it starts with, what action can I take to make a difference? Not what action can someone else take. Does making a Twitter thread trying to cancel a content creator actually get you closer to your goal? Does it even make you feel better? Does it make you feel like justice has been served? And if you could say yes to any of those, I'd like you to evaluate that and maybe go outside and work with tools and live in the wilderness and take care of yourself and your family like a real human being should, because that's how humans have existed throughout all time, is taking care of your family. And it doesn't matter how fucked up the world is, as long as you have each other, that's what matters. And we need to go back to that, okay? Life is like that, okay? Everybody's in a dark gray area, and it scares them when they realize it, because like you realize that your whole life you've been consuming you've been basically trained to like consume all these products, soda, cereal, like breakfast cereals. Are you kidding me? Do you know what they did to an entire generation of children? They got children addicted to cartoon characters that just make them want to buy something so that they can eat it. Do you understand how fucked up that is? And also, like, it's unhealthy. It was like sugar, like just pure sugar. Like there's so many unethical things that we're just brainwashed to believe are normal. And then we see other countries and they're like, oh, they're like, like some people would even say like, oh, they're savagery. And it's like what? Like, are you kidding me? Like if that was like, if you just literally swapped your geographic location when you were born, you would be in the exact same situation they are in. You're no different than they are, except for the fact that you were born in a different geographic location. But so what are we gonna do about it? That's really what. So what are we gonna do about it? I mean, that's the real question, right? I mean, like, the best thing we can do is obviously not the best solution, but it's like the thing that we can really, the only thing we can really do is just take care of ourselves, take care of our loved ones, and try not to contribute to as much of the problems that we stand against as we can. Okay? Anyway, if you like these kind of videos, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, hit the bell icon. Bye bye.